Be more creative, be more innovative, be more entrepreneurial. Master technology. Do not get stuck in any one way of thinking because you will be left in the dust. That is the big skill that as humans we have to figure out mastering right now. 2024, we better get it under our belt because by next year, the train would have left the station and the people who are super adaptable will be on it and the people who are not will not. I'm Misha da Vinci. This is the Grift Podcast. Conversations with founders, creatives, technologists, scientists, authors, and experts, all designed to get you up to speed with this fast-changing world and ready for the future. So far on this podcast, we've done 15 episodes, and it's time for a solo day where I answer your questions about tech, life, and everything in between. So let's dive in and get ready for the future. Helping me today is my friendly intern, Kelly. So Kelly, what is the first question?
Why are you even doing a podcast? There are so many podcasts. Do we really need another one?
Okay, so there are tons of podcasts out there, but I don't think podcasts are going anywhere soon. They're relatively easy to produce. You just need a couple of apps and you're good to go. They're a great way to get ideas out into the world. Awesome for brands or creators or frankly, anyone who's trying to find their audience, their customers, and their market. And then on the listener end, they're an awesome way to learn and keep educating yourself. So you can listen to a podcast while you're working out or cooking or doing various activities. So it's just a super, super brilliant way to learn and educate yourself and just become a better version of who you are. Why I started this podcast? Well, this particular podcast is for people who recognize that the world is changing super fast and they know that unless they do something, they're going to be left behind. There are a ton of tech podcasts and futures podcasts and lots of really smart people who are putting out content. And I love them. But I don't think that what they're doing is what this podcast is doing or in the way that we're going to do it. I think there's a huge population that needs what we're creating here, and I'm in the business of transforming lives, and that's what I plan to do here. Really equip people for the future. So yeah, I am super comfortable making the choice to do this podcast. So stick around and see how we do. Kelly, question number 2.
I've been listening to the podcast since you started it, but I don't understand why you call the podcast grift when it's spelled grftf.
That is a very fair question. So here's the deal. We took a really long time to come up with a name and we worked through a lot of different options. I really wanted to use a name that was very obvious because I think in branding, it's obvious is good. So GRFTF is an acronym for Get Ready for the Future, and which is what this podcast is all about and which is what this brand is all about. But that's way too long of a name, so it becomes GRFTF, the acronym, and that looks a lot like if you look at the letters on the page or on the screen, it just looks so close to grift. I thought that obviously people like haters or even non-haters would end up calling it grift. And I thought to obviate all of that, we should just call it grift. I mean, let's just own it. It's kind of weird and it's maybe kind of interesting and cool and maybe people will talk about it. So there you have it.
Question number 3. Are we completely effed? Is AI going to screw us over?
So the short answer to that question is yes and no. The truth is AI is already screwing us over. And that's been going on for maybe more than a decade at least. Everything you see online is dictated by algorithms that decide what you see, what you know about, and what you engage with. We spend most of our life online now. What you experience online is your world. So your world, your reality, your facts can be wildly different to other people, even people living in your own house. Because what you're seeing and what you're getting is shaped by what the algorithm dictates, and the algorithm dictates whatever it thinks will keep your attention. So your reality is different to the next person's reality. It's as simple as that. And it's frankly completely insane. And the reason the world's gotten so crazy in the last 10 years is AI recommender systems, these algorithms, these recommender systems. But what I find so weird is that nobody seems to lay the problem there. People are so busy, they've gotten hooked by the algorithm. They've gotten outraged by the algorithm. And they're so busy blaming this group or that group, this political party or that political party, this or that, that they're just missing the whole point. The truth is our social fabric has been destroyed by AI. So yeah, we're completely screwed by AI already. And now with large language models like ChatGPT, it's going to get much, much worse. Generative AI means false facts can be created. Deepfakes and all sorts of fabricated content is going to inundate the internet. And we're not going to be able to trust anything we see, even the things that are actually real. So let's say you, because of the flood of fabricated content, you don't believe anything you see online anymore because you're like, oh, that's just a scammer or that's just some weird AI crap. But there's some message that comes across the internet and it's like a disaster is coming, you need to evacuate or something that you really need to do. It's like the boy who cried wolf when there really was a wolf because nobody trusted anything that person said anymore. Yeah, there's no trust. And when there's no trust, that's super scary for everyone at every level. So loss of trust is going to be a massive problem. But here's what I think is an even bigger problem. The biggest challenge will be the AI companies that steal our content to train their models. And for people who make a living creating content, writers, experts, researchers, reporters, actors, singers, musicians, artists, and creators of any kind and every kind, even teachers, anyone putting out content at any level can and will be secretly cloned, and their content will be used to replace them. Your work will be copied, your likeness will be cloned and used to replace you. And that's already happening. So yeah, we pretty much are fucked. The good news is, so the no part is, the good news is that there are technologies being built to counter this. And in season 2 of this podcast, which we're going to go on break in May, and season 2 is going to start in June. In season 2, I'll be talking with the people building the solutions to the AI problem. But beware because it's going to be pretty crazy for a while.
Question number 4. Deepfakes are the devil. What the fuck is happening?
So deepfakes video and audio are technologies that are mainstreaming and they're really going to shake up the online world. Let's say you're a celebrity and some people who hate you can now make a fake video about you doing something. They can rile up a mob and come to your house to attack you. I think then there's a scam version of this where you can get a call from your sister saying that she's a crisis and need you to send her money, blah, blah, blah. And it sounds exactly like her. And you just Venmo the money and you've been scammed. I mean, frankly, this is already happening. And super smart people are already being conned by deepfake audio. And the real stuff hasn't even started yet. There are startups working very hard to voice clone and face clone and generally clone everything using AI. So anyone and everyone will be fooled. I was reading this article and they were talking about audio deepfakes. And they're saying, and I'm going to read it, audio deepfakes can and will be used for spreading misinformation. Machines will impersonate public figures, politicians, and celebrities. Falsified audio could also be used to trick security systems that make use of voice authentication. For example, tricking your bank's authentication system by calling its service line and playing clips of your AI cloned voice. And then it just goes further. Fake audio can impact court cases, intelligence operations, and politics. Some potential scenarios. Using fake audio recordings to prompt authorities to pursue false intelligence targets. Submitting fake audio recordings of defendants confessing to crimes or making incriminating statements, impersonating public officials' voices to spread disinformation or obtain sensitive information. So this is what's happening. And a lot of people are saying the government should create the right legislation to make sure that this does not happen. And we've got to be able to fix this. But I don't know that that's necessarily the solution. I think the real counter to AI are tech solutions that allow us to have an entirely different relationship with what content we put online. So we should be able to have a tracker or an attestation that says this was created, this is authentic, and that anybody can track and see where it came from and how it was sourced. And I think this is the kind of internet that we're going to have because AI is just going to like pretty much F everything up for everybody. What I find surprising about all of this is that we go through these phases where new tech comes in and then it's used to scam. I mean, there was a time when spam email back in the early noughts was a thing, and people got all these weird emails and they were spammed and they were scammed because if you click on the link in the email, X, Y, and Z happens. Or people were seduced by the email thinking it came from a real source and then they sent money to some weirdo or something, whatever. So we've dealt with this kind of stuff before. The problem with this round is it's going to be so scarily accurate. Like, this is serious cloning now of a person's voice. So you may think it's your kid or your parent or your family member or somebody close to you that's in a difficult situation, in a jam, and that you need to come to their rescue. And meantime, it's just a scam. And the problem is you won't be able to tell the difference between the real one and the fake one. So everybody is going to be on edge for a while. Yeah, it's pretty screwed up. But I think, look, humans are really smart. We just have to exercise our smartness. In encountering AI, we have to be smarter than the AI. Well, not really the AI, but the people using the AI. Because AI does not have a mind of its own. It's being deployed by people who own it. And they have an agenda. So we just need to be smarter than that. And we have to learn to be smarter than that. And humans are super adaptable creatures. So we can adapt to that. So yeah, but it's going to be pretty dangerous out there for a while until we come up with some solid tech solutions. So in the meantime, just be super, super vigilant. Like, that is really important, guys.
Next question. I'm 15 years old. What should I be studying if I want to be successful as an adult?
This is a brilliant question. Here's the deal. The world's changing so fast. And depending on your specialty, much of what you're studying right now may not be relevant in a few years or even a few months. So how do you know what to study? How do you know what to focus on? How do you know what to major in? I think what will always be relevant, even in a fast-changing world that's being disrupted constantly, is understanding humanity and how humanity functions. History of art, philosophy, the classics, the languages, health, medicine, psychology, mathematics, law, politics, how to write. These are always going to be useful because you're studying humanity. And every job, every profession, every role that you would play is about providing a service to someone. The marketplace is about humanity, providing services to humanity. So funny how we seem to forget that all the time. But your job, whatever you do the rest of your life as a 15-year-old, it will be about meeting a need for humans. So if you understand the human, you will be better positioned and equipped to meet that need. So the first bucket, I'm thinking in response to your question, there are two major buckets. And the first bucket is understanding humans. The second bucket is understanding technology. I think of technology as this interloper, this force that's entered the chat, entered the game, entered the arena in the 20th century and accelerating in the 21st century. Technology is this force that, truthfully, at this point, very few people understand. As a percentage of the global population, it's a micro percentage that understands the tech and how to talk to it. But this is a foundational skill. So you want to understand the humans and you want to understand the technology. And how do you understand the technology? So it's computer science. That's the core course. I think computer science should be a core course starting at age 3, like learning your ABCs. Like, seriously. I know a lot of people say, oh, you don't need to learn to code or you don't need coding or blah, blah. That's BS. You better bloody learn to code. Now you have AI that will code, but you still need to know what to tell the AI to code. You still need to understand computer science, computer engineering, foundational skills. Otherwise, a small group of people will be able to control the world, hijack the world, control the machines, and yeah, they have all the power. I mean, we already see the tech billionaires. Why are they billionaires? Because they are the only ones who are able to do this. And that's not necessary. So as a young person, my advice to you is to get the foundation of the human stuff first. And then, I have this really important idea I want to tell you about. One of the problems that people who master technology face is that technology, if you don't understand humanity and if you don't care about humanity, you are at risk of using technology for evil. If you know how to command a machine, you will gain a lot of power, and power will corrupt you. It's just the thing. Few humans can resist the corrupting nature of power. And so you will end up like Sam Bankman-Fried, imprisoned for committing crimes that were made possible because he knew how to control machines. And he didn't have a moral compass. And you don't have a moral compass if you don't understand humans and care about them. I believe in the next few years, there'll be a lot of young people who will know how to use AI and who will commit huge crimes, fraud, scams, and all sorts of other things. Bear this in mind. This is a huge warning. You're a young person. Power is very seductive for humans. And it's easy if you don't have people around checking you to fall into evil. Okay? But back to your question, as a 15-year-old, what should you study? So AI is going to replace many current knowledge-based roles and activities in a wide range of professions, from coding, law, data analysis and medicine, like all aspects of research and science. OpenAI put out a study about which professions had the most exposure to large language models, like which professions would be most impacted by this advent of large language models. And I will put the link in the description, but I'm just going to give you a quick idea. Some professions had 100% exposure. Mathematicians, tax preparers, financial quantitative analysts, writers and authors, web and digital interface designers, accountants and auditors, news analysts, reporters and journalists, legal secretaries and administrative assistants, clinical data managers, climate change policy analysts. So the truth is, and that was early on, I think we're going to find that there'll be a very wide range of professions that will be seriously impacted by these large language models. And if the role or the activity is heavily digitized or content-based, I think it will be disrupted, or major aspects of that role or profession will be disrupted. So what should you do as a young person coming out, going to college and thinking about what you will study in a world that's run now by these large language models? I think at this time, being a specialist is not going to be the thing to do. Like, machines will become the specialists. So you should be a good generalist. In the 21st century, it'll be the most in-demand skill, that ability to make connections across many different areas, which is what a generalist will do. How do you do that? How do you become a generalist? How do you develop that skill set? Get a broad education across many fields. Follow your interests, whatever calls you, whatever excites you, what inspires you to be creative. This is really key. And then master. So do that. And then master some lane of technology. I think it's super, super important to develop vision. What is vision? Vision comes from understanding the past and the present, and that allows you to powerfully intuit what the future will hold. And that's, an immensely important skill. So at this point, everyone should understand how AI works, the hardware, the data, and the algorithms, how they're used to build the AI models, and then how to apply them to your area, your field, your interests. I think that's just basics, so you need to know how to do that. But then also learn about the new technologies that are being built, especially like the blockchain-based technologies that are going to help counter AI and keep it in check. So that was a really big question. I don't know if that helps. The truth is, our entire education system needs to be overhauled, and it's a lot to think about. But you know what? You're in a good place. This podcast and the Grift newsletter is all about educating you for the future. So stick with us, and I think you're going to be okay. Hey, Kelly, what's the next question?
What books are you reading that you would recommend to someone who wants to get ready for the future?
I so love this question because in a world of toxic, algorithmic-driven social content, books are gold. Most of the people I talk to on this podcast are experts who've written a book. Pretty much most weeks, I have to read a book or two to prepare for the convo with my guest. And that's in addition to whatever else I'm reading. So yeah, I read a lot and I love it. It's one of the perks of the job, like being forced to read and exercise your brain constantly. I've read a ton of really great books this year, like too many to discuss in this episode. But if you go listen to past episodes and sign up for the Grift newsletter, you'll find a bunch of books that I've been reading for each podcast. There's one book in particular that I do want to talk about. It's Read, Write, Own by Chris Dixon. I'll put the link in the description. This is a book I've been writing about on socials ad nauseum. Why? Well, it's probably the most important technology and business book of the early 21st century, maybe the entire century, because it really addresses the internet, the issues with the internet and how it needs to change so that it can actually work for humanity. It's about democratizing the internet and transforming how business is done in this new world. So fundamental book, really, really mandatory reading. And you just have to get it, read it, and reread it. It's going to change how you think. It's going to change your life. And yeah, just do it. I think way more people should be reading books. I don't think that we've gotten into this sort of lax place where people just watch videos or get their content online. And again, because online content's going to be overrun with fake information, a lot of garbage, I think books are going to become super, super relevant. And they're going to become super sexy. So yeah, good for you. Like, read. Okay, intern Kelly, what's the next question?
So, what's a day in the life of Misha da Vinci?
Yeah, that's sneaky because that's a question I ask my guests all the time. Okay, so for me, get up in the morning. I like to get up early, like 5-ish, and I meditate. So the first 3 hours of the day, I like to keep to myself. So between 5 and 8, it's me time. So meditation, and then I like to go for a hike or a run or something like that most of the times. It's been raining a lot here in LA, so I haven't done a lot of that, but I do some kind of workout, so stretching or yoga or something. And then coffee. It's my one vice, my coffee. And then I'm like into the work, reading a lot, doing a lot of research on technology, and I'm super excited about that. The particular area I'm diving deep into right now is decentralizing artificial intelligence, which I think is maybe like really, really critical. I've been super excited about the Read, Write, Own movement, which I think is really big deal. And it's all about decentralizing the internet, democratizing the internet. And the internet's the single most important technology that we actually have. It's foundational for everything we do. What else am I doing? I'm prepping for my podcast or prepping for some courses. I'm going to do a course for mastering AI, which I think is really exciting. I can't wait to share that with the world. I think people are going to enjoy it. And then I'm coming up with this talk that I'm going to do. I don't want to give away any secrets, but it's all about, again, making AI work for you and not the other way around. So it's pretty basic. I work a lot. Look, if you love what you do, then it's not work. It's a lot of fun. So I'm always having fun. I'm always involved in my work in some way. And then on the weekends, I especially like to work. When other people are not, I'll go for a long hike on the weekend, and then I'll come back and I'll work all day and maybe half the night. So yeah, very boring, but super fun. And I enjoy being on the cutting edge of thought and where the world is going. And really, my focus is humanity and supporting humanity, giving humanity the information that we all need in order to thrive in this very different future that's ahead of us, or that's not frankly ahead of us, but is already here. So yeah, that's basically what I do.
Final question. What's the single most important piece of advice you would give someone in 2024?
Wow, I love this question so much. It's super awesome. So the biggest challenge we face is not shitty AI or big tech surveilling us and stealing our data or the cesspool that is social media. Those things are terrible, but the real problem is the speed at which things are changing and the fact that we cannot see and don't understand what is actually happening. Most of the technological change that we're encountering is invisible, and that makes us like double unconscious or unaware of the forces that are reshaping our lives. This, I think, is the monumental challenge of the 21st century. So understanding the exponential change that's taking place and then remembering our brains process things linearly and they do not innately grasp exponential change or growth. How do you come to terms with that, and how do you figure out how to respond to that, and what are you going to do? You have to learn how to be adaptable, how to embrace change, how to be nimble in your work and in your career. And that starts being nimble in your brain and being able to, it's really being able to shift from going in one direction to maybe going in a slightly different direction or in a completely different direction, or in being able to assess reality and say, wait a minute, it's different. I have to change my approach. And so a lot of that's internal stuff within our own brains, within our own psyche, within our own choices within ourselves. It requires a tremendous amount of confidence, and it requires adaptability. And adaptability comes from really knowing yourself, like really being able to trust yourself and believe in yourself, and like not doubt that you have the capacity to effectively respond to whatever life brings your way. So what's the question? Single most important piece of advice: be more creative, be more innovative, be more entrepreneurial, master technology. Do not get stuck in any one way of thinking, because you will be left in the dust. And that is the big skill that as humans we have to figure out mastering right now. 2024, we better get it under our belt, because by next year, the train would have left the station, and the people who are super adaptable will be on it, and the people who are not will not. And that is not fun. It's a really big moment for us humans. It's one of the reasons I started this podcast and media tech brand. It's to address this really huge need that humanity has to adapt, to get up to speed, and to be ready for this very different world. So stick with us. I promise you that I'm going to do my level best to give you content and information and a lot of new things we're building. So this podcast is just a very tiny beginning. I'm really dedicated to giving you what you need to be successful in this very different world. 21st century is unlike any other, because digital technology is not like any other technology revolution, and artificial intelligence is unlike any other thing we've faced. I am not fearful, because I think we have so many smart people building the technology that counters this. So we have big tech, but we have people building small tech. We have AI that takes our power away and gives it to the big companies, but we also have people building technologies that decentralize the world and decentralize technology and decentralize the internet and democratize it. I'm very hopeful and I'm super positive about the future. In fact, I think we're entering incredibly exciting times. One more thing, be optimistic. Be super optimistic. It's optimism. It's about being open to solutions because you believe that there are solutions. So be optimistic, be positive, move forward, believe in yourself, believe in your ability to meet whatever challenge life brings, and embrace creativity, get excited, follow your passion, like what gets you going, like believe in that, because that's a clue that there's something there for you. Hang out with super smart people, find them and be friends, because that's where magic is going to happen, and that's where the future is going to be built. And so, yeah, build the future. Don't let the future happen to you. Be a part of shaping it. And I really want a lot of people to do that. This should not be an exclusive thing for a tiny group of people. It should be for everybody anywhere who cares about this. You have what it takes, so just do it. So that's it for this episode, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I love doing this. I might do a lot more solo eps in the future. Leave a comment on YouTube or on my socials. Let me know what you thought about it. And also let me know any topics or ideas that I should cover and any guests you'd like me to have on. And let's get on this journey together, folks. It's the only way. Make sure to listen, follow, and subscribe for new episodes wherever you get your podcasts and on our YouTube channel.